Thanks to everyone who took the NCECA post-conference survey. We learned a lot from listening to all of your opinions, and we wanted to share the results with you. Please feel free to pause the video at any time to look more closely at any chart or graph. First, let me introduce you to yourselves. We asked survey respondents to identify themselves into one primary professional status category as it pertains to clay. We then combined these to make 5 broad categories. Because we also want to gain a better understanding of the ever-changing demographic of our organization, we also looked at membership breakdown by gender, age, education, and length of membership. We also wanted to better understand the factors that influence attendance at a conference. Travel cost is the biggest concern, followed by hotel cost. Although these are aspects of the conference that are difficult for NCECA to have much influence over, we are including these concerns in our city discussion and decisions. Of course, there are many people who simply attend every year, regardless of any of these factors.
I live in Newfoundland and can count the potters in the entire province on 2 hands, and I only need a 3rd hand to count the non-functional clay people. I'm starved for broader ceramic experience. Quite frankly, I'd attend the conference if it were on the moon.
As a volunteer, I experienced a part of NCECA that I have never experienced before. I enjoyed it so much and would love to have the opportunity to volunteer again in the future. I was able to experience the student critique room as a volunteer, and I picked up on a lack of knowledge that people had about this opportunity.
We asked attendees how they spent their time at the conference. Exhibitions were the most popular, followed by conference programming. And of course, we always find plenty of time for socializing, or networking.
Usually I'm all about going to lectures on theory, aesthetics, process. This time I couldn't get enough of the demos. I came back so inspired. I couldn't wait to get back to my studio. That's a first for me.
Of course, we're also always concerned with how good of a job we are doing in terms of the various nuts and bolts of the conference. We did take note of the lower scores for buses and transportation, and are looking into ways to improve this aspect of the conference.
I think buses should run to exhibitions during the conference. The shows are one of the biggest reasons I love NCECA.
The printed conference guide should have the visual guide that almost looks like a graph with times and names of lectures like you did in the Seattle guide. Much easier to see what lectures overlap, so I can make some tough decisions.
The conference programming is the main part of the conference that the board plans. This year we tried a few new things and wanted to know how those were received. We also wanted to know how attendees perceived the balance, variety, quality, and quantity of programming.
The membership is majority self-identified as studio potter and academic, yet the majority programming is opposite. It showcases sculpture and art history and craft theory. There are sculpture conferences and history conferences. This is the only conference where pots have any venue. Even our emerging artists and NCECA National are mostly sculpture.
I had trouble finding content based on non-functional and sculptural work. It was more functional based than I had expected, but I found that galleries around town provided in sculpture what I was lacking at the conference center. I would have appreciated a couple more mini demos on sculpture or non-functional work.
I would have preferred slightly more academic engagement.
Where was the interactive process room? I thought the program was a bit heavy on academic concepts. We like to understand where to focus our efforts by knowing what the most important reasons for attending the conference are.
Each time I go, it's for different reasons. Each time I return, I take away many different useful things. But overall, good job.
The main reason I attend NCECA is old friends and community, new technology, and hopefully visiting a new city.
As we have already learned, exhibitions are one of the most important aspects of most attendees' experience. So the questions we asked about galleries and exhibitions were very important to us.
Would be better to have a majority of ceramic exhibitions within conference or very near. Public buys from potters. Potters buy from commercial exhibitors. Potters and exhibitors demonstrate to public. Proceeds benefit NCECA, potters and exhibitors, public happy, and look forward to next one. First floor access and outdoor planning priority, no elevators, escalators.
We also like to know where people get their information about the conference.
The owner of the studio where I teach told me about NCECA.
Random talk with Potter in Washington State while on vacation.
Clay art message board.
If you're a clayer, you just hear. I have a special sensor made of compressed silicon carbide that only tunes in with NCECA, the voice of Clayers everywhere.
And we asked a few more questions to help us plan for the future. We all loved this comment.
I'll be glad to contribute $100 to NCECA. Where should I mail the check? NCECA Houston 2013 was a great first-time experience. Really looking forward to next year.
You may mail any donations to the NCECA office. And a big thank you to all of you who have already donated. And thanks again to everyone who responded to the survey. We appreciate your input. Be sure to visit us throughout the year at www.nceica.net.